Success isn't just about habits, discipline, or opportunity. Yes, those things matter. But they're only part of the picture. At its core, success is about energy, the energy you carry, the energy you allow in, the energy that shapes your thoughts, fuels your actions, and defines your path, and nothing influences that energy more than people. The people you surround yourself with, whether consciously or unconsciously, are shaping your mindset, your emotions, and your beliefs every single day. Some people will ignite something inside you. They remind you of who you are and who you're capable of becoming. They push you forward, refuse to let you shrink, and believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. Others do the opposite. They make you doubt yourself, not always directly. Sometimes it's subtle. A sideways comment, a delayed response. They don't pull you down. They just slowly stop you from rising. Some people challenge you. They stretch you. They hold up a mirror. They force you to grow. It's not always comfortable, but it's necessary. And then there are people who smile at you, nod along, and gently clip your wings while pretending to cheer you on. They offer polite discouragement. They give advice that makes you smaller. They stay quiet when you need their voice the most. If you're serious about living a life of meaning with clarity, courage, and intention, then it's time to become intentional about who walks beside you, because not everyone deserves access to your mind, your dreams, or your time. You can be kind, but you don't have to be available. You can care for people, but still protect your energy. You can love someone and still choose to walk away when their presence drains more than it gives. That's not bitterness. That's wisdom. So ask yourself honestly, who is fueling my fire? And who is quietly putting it out? Because your future is too important to be shaped by the wrong hands, here are 4 types of people you must learn to avoid, not out of anger, but out of self-respect, because your success is sacred. And not everyone gets to walk that road with you. 1. The chronic victim. These are the people who wear hopelessness like a second skin, so familiar, so constant, they don't even notice it anymore. To them, life is nothing more than a series of disappointments waiting to happen. And somehow, no matter what goes wrong, it's never their fault. Their circumstances are always someone else's doing. It's the economy. It's their upbringing. It's that ex, that boss, that one missed opportunity from years ago that they still carry around like a wound that won't heal. They see the world not as a place of potential, but as a battlefield rigged against them from the start. And if you're someone who cares even a little, you might feel drawn to help them. You might believe that with enough encouragement, enough support, enough gentle nudging, you can help them rise out of the fog they live in. You'll offer advice, share your optimism, even lend a hand when they stumble. But here's what they won't tell you. They don't actually want to rise. Not really. Because rising would require responsibility. It would mean admitting that not every setback is someone else's fault. It would mean facing hard truths about their own choices. And for some, that's more terrifying than staying stuck. What makes these people dangerous isn't just their negativity, it's the subtle, insidious way it begins to shape you. It doesn't happen all at once. At first, you just empathize. Then you start to agree a little. You start thinking, yeah, maybe the system is broken. Or maybe success really is about luck. Or what if I'm trying too hard and it's not worth it? You begin to adopt their lens, seeing obstacles not as stepping stones, but as walls. You stop taking risks. You stop reaching as far. And before you know it, you've dulled your own edge, tamed your own fire. Because that's what happens when you normalize the language of limitation. When you surround yourself with people who always find a reason why something can't be done, eventually you start believing that reason too. And slowly, quietly, Your ambition dies not with a crash, but with a shrug. Here's what most people don't want to admit. Yes, life can be unfair. Deeply, devastatingly unfair. Some people are born into systems designed to limit them. Some carry trauma that no one else sees. But unfairness is not a life sentence, it's a starting point. The people who rise aren't the ones who had perfect lives. They're the ones who made a decision. This ends with me. They took ownership. They stopped waiting for someone to save them. They stopped pointing fingers and started asking themselves the hardest, most important question. What now? Victims stay stuck in the past. Leaders take responsibility for the future. Victims need everything to change before they can move. Leaders move, and in doing so they change everything. So be careful, because the victim mindset is contagious. It might come disguised as realism. It might sound like caution. It might feel like solidarity. But if it's pulling you away from your own agency, your own power, your own possibility, it's poison. Surround yourself with people who can look at their pain honestly without being consumed by it. People who can admit where they've been, but still choose to move forward. People who've been knocked down more times than you can count, but keep showing up, not because it's easy, but because they know they're worth it. That's who you want beside you. Because those people won't just cheer you on, they'll remind you of your power when you forget you have it. Your future depends on the mindset you protect. So walk with the wounded who are still willing to heal. Walk with the brave, the resilient, the quietly determined. Because in a world full of excuses, choosing ownership is radical. And it's the only path that leads you anywhere worth going. 2. The subtle saboteur. They don't yell. They don't insult you. They rarely, if ever, speak in a way that's obviously hurtful. In fact, at first glance, you might even call them supportive. They smile when you talk. They nod when you share your ideas. They offer polite encouragement, sometimes even telling others they're proud of you. On the surface, everything looks fine, safe, familiar. But pay close attention not just to their words, but to their energy. Because something shifts the moment you start speaking dreams into existence. The moment you say something that stretches beyond what's normal or expected, you can feel it. A subtle tightening in the air. Their tone softens, but not in the way love softens. It softens like tension hiding under politeness. They change the subject too quickly. They laugh nervously. Their eyes drop. They offer what they call a reality check, but it lands more like a withdrawal. It never sounds harsh. It rarely sounds like criticism. In fact, it often sounds like concern. Are you sure that's a smart move? Isn't that kind of risky? I just don't want to see you get disappointed. And that's the trap, because the words aren't laced with malice. They're coated in love, or at least what looks like love. But when you peel back the layers, you realize it isn't your safety. They're trying to protect it's their own sense of stability. It's their own comfort with the version of you they've grown used to. The one who didn't push the boundaries. The one who stayed close to the ground. Your growth, whether you mean for it to or not, disrupts something in them. It unsettles the quiet agreements they've made with themselves to stay small, to stay safe, to stay unseen. And so, when you speak about expansion, risk, and dreams that require reinvention, it triggers them. Your ambition becomes a mirror they never asked for, reflecting all the things they chose not to do, all the steps they were too afraid to take. And instead of rising with you, they try ever so gently, ever so subtly to anchor you to the version of you that makes them feel secure. And here's the hardest part. They may genuinely love you. They may genuinely think they're helping. They may not even realize what they're doing. That's how unconscious it can be. But love, in and of itself, is not the same as alignment. Love, as beautiful as it is not the same as being equipped to support your transformation. Some people love you for who you are, not who you're becoming. Some people love your potential as long as it stays hypothetical, as long as it doesn't outgrow them. And if you're not careful, if you're not fiercely intentional, their doubt will start to sneak into your own mind. Their hesitation will become your hesitation. You'll start editing your dreams before you even speak them. You'll question your timing, your talent, your direction, not because you lack vision, but because you've allowed too many subtle voices of resistance to live rent-free in your head. You'll dim your light to protect their comfort. You'll stay small to keep them close. And you'll mistake that shrinking for loyalty. But loyalty that costs you your future is not loyalty, it's self-betrayal. That's why you must learn to set loving, but firm boundaries. You don't need to hate them. You don't need to cut them off with cruelty. But you do need to stop asking for permission to grow. You do need to stop waiting for everyone to understand your vision before you pursue it. Because the truth is, some people won't ever see what you see. Some people aren't built to hold space for your next level. And that's okay. That doesn't make them bad people, it just means their role in your story might be complete. Let them be part of your history. But don't let them shape your destiny. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to outgrow relationships. You are allowed to want more. And you don't have to apologize for it. Because anyone who truly believes in you, anyone who is meant to walk this path with you, won't be threatened by your growth. They'll cheer for it. They'll expand with you. And they'll remind you, over and over again, that your wings were never meant to stay folded. 3. The Energy Leech. This one, on the surface, seems easy to identify, but in reality, they can be some of the hardest to let go of. Why? Because they often come wrapped in charm, wit, or charisma. They might be the life of the party, the friend who always has a wild story, or the one who knows how to make you laugh. But beneath the surface, something doesn't sit right. You start to notice the pattern, not in their words, but in your own energy. After spending time with them, do you feel lighter or heavier? Do you walk away with clarity or a strange emotional fog that lingers? Are you uplifted, or do you feel like you've been emotionally wrung out, like someone siphoned off your peace without asking? That's the quiet signature of an energy leech. They're not always toxic in the obvious sense. They don't need to scream, manipulate, or betray to drain you. Sometimes, all it takes is their chronic neediness and endless cycle of personal crises that require you to drop everything and be their emotional anchor. They rely on your strength, but never offer theirs in return. They demand your time, but don't value your boundaries. They expect you to listen endlessly, but they rarely ask how you're doing. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, the relationship becomes one-directional. You become their therapist, their safety net, their battery pack. But friendship, true friendship, is not a one-way street. It's not about keeping score, but it is about mutual nourishment. When someone constantly pulls from you without ever pouring anything back in, it's not connection, it's consumption. And no matter how much history you share, or how much love you feel, that kind of dynamic will quietly erode your spirit. It's okay to care about people who are struggling. It's okay to be a source of support, but not at the expense of your own emotional well-being. You're not a bottomless well. You are not responsible for saving people who refuse to swim. Protect your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. Love them from afar if you must. Wish them healing, but never hand over the keys to your peace in exchange for temporary closeness. 4. The Stagnant Dreamer. This type might be the most difficult to walk away from, not because they're harmful in an obvious way, but because, at first glance, they feel just like you. They dream like you. They speak in the language of ambition. They're always talking about the book they're going to write, the business they're going to start, the bold moves they'll make when the time is right and it's inspiring at first. Their passion is intoxicating. Their vision is magnetic. You feel seen, understood, even fired up by their excitement. But over time, something starts to shift. You notice that their dreams live only in conversation. Months pass, years, and still nothing is built. No risk is taken. No leap is made. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to normalize that cycle. You start mistaking endless planning and talking about the dream for the real, uncomfortable work of building it. You begin to believe that passion is enough, that intention equals impact. But it doesn't. Being surrounded by stagnant dreamers creates a comforting illusion. It's cozy. It feels like home, but stay too long, and you'll start to confuse proximity to greatness with the pursuit of it. You'll start equating potential with progress. And that's dangerous. Because success doesn't come from lofty words or perfect plans, it comes from action. From trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again. Surround yourself with the brave ones. The ones who are out there doing, building, falling on their face, and getting back up anyway. The ones who don't just talk about the future they created, one messy step at a time. Progress isn't always pretty, but it's always honest. Momentum is powerful, and it's contagious, but so is complacency. And in the end, your circle will either push you forward or quietly hold you in place. Choose the ones who move. Final thoughts. The people around you are never neutral. Whether you realize it or not, they're either watering the seeds of your vision or slowly, subtly poisoning the soil it's growing in. Some do it with encouragement, support, and belief. Others do it with doubt, distraction, or quiet disapproval. And the most dangerous part, it often happens in such small doses that you don't even see the shift happening until one day you wake up and realize you're no longer moving toward the life you dreamed of. This isn't about blaming others, and it's certainly not about cutting people off in bitterness or resentment. It's about alignment. It's about honoring the direction you're heading and protecting the version of you that's still under construction. Because every time you say yes to a person or pattern that drains you, doubts you, or pulls you off track, you're unintentionally saying no to a part of yourself that's trying to grow. That part of you that's reaching for more, that's ready to evolve, that's hungry for a life of meaning and impact. It needs your protection. It needs your honesty. You don't owe anyone access to your becoming. Not everyone gets to walk beside you into the next chapter. Some people were only meant to be part of the prologue. And that's okay. Growth isn't cruel, it's just clarifying. You don't need permission to change. You don't need to justify your distance. And you definitely don't need to feel guilty for creating boundaries that honor your peace, your purpose, and your potential. Choose to surround yourself with people who challenge you to rise. People who speak to the version of you that you're still becoming. People who remind you of your strength when you forget it. People who don't let you shrink, because they know you're never meant to play small. They may not be perfect. They may not always agree with you. But they see you and they believe in where you're headed, even when the road gets dark. Because here's the truth. Your success isn't only shaped by what you do. It's equally shaped by what and who you walk away from. You can't build a future while dragging the weight of people who don't want to move. You can't fly if you're constantly surrounded by those who fear the sky. So pause for a moment. Reflect. Ask yourself, who in my life truly brings me closer to the person I want to be? And who, whether through fear, comfort, or their own unhealed wounds, is slowly pulling me away from it? Be honest. Be kind. But most importantly, be brave. Because your future depends on the choices you make today. And one of the most powerful choices you'll ever make is who you choose to walk with.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.